questions for Woody? Just please raise your. Oh, I got okay. Emily, up to you. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Hey, Woody, obviously not the outcome you wanted as far as the score was concerned, but what was the pregame and everything leading up to first pitch like for you guys?
No, it was fantastic. It felt like a real game. It felt like, kind of back to the old days when we, have full capacity and, good crowd. Obviously, they stayed in it the whole game. Unfortunately, we didn't give them much to cheer about, but obviously it was really nice to kind of feel the energy in the beginning of the game. All the pregame stuff. It was electric. It was an awesome atmosphere, and I was hoping we'd see how loud our stadium got if we gave them something to cheer about, but unfortunately, we didn't do that.
Can you pinpoint anything with Pulte? I mean, it seemed like it's not like he was terrible. They fouled off so many pitches. Can you pinpoint anything?
Yeah, you kind of said it there. The first couple innings they battled him. I think he was, you could see in the third inning, he came out and came right at him. I think if he'd had that from the beginning, I think the few walks and the obviously the two homers, there was a couple pitches leading up to those. The Simeon homer was like a 1-1 pitch, just down, just off. That kind of changes the whole at bat, and it's 2-1, and then he throws a fastball, that Simeon hit for a homer. So those are the critical pitches that we talk about a lot, and if we have that attack mentality, he's maybe 1-2 right there instead of 2-1, which leads to a damage pitch. But I thought he actually threw the ball decent, especially in that third, fourth inning. 7 punch outs in 4 innings. He battled, but I think just early on, got stung by those 2 homers.
Were your bats pressing at all, wanting maybe to do too much, or am I reading too much into that?
A little bit. I think I think Matt's was really good. I think we talk about our guys that have changeups. It gives you fits, and he was throwing his changeup to the lefties today. Our lefties have been really good against left-handed pitchers, but they haven't seen a guy throw a left-on-left changeup like that. And then he started elevating his fastball. It kind of reminded me of the Mats I remember from New York. He's throwing upper 90s, at the top of the zone, and a really good changeup. He did a good job. I got to tip a cap a little bit, but we got to obviously do better. We got to find ways to beat good pitching, and when they're on, we got to find ways to disrupt that. And obviously, 14 punch outs. That's something that, like I said, I'm going to constantly address, and we can talk about it tomorrow. We can figure out what we could have done different, because we are going to run into good pitching at times, and we still got to find a way to kind of put the pressure on them.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, let's go to Sam.
Obviously you talked about Pulte. I'm curious, just given everything with his career the last year, was it important just to get 2 innings, just to kind of show him those last 2 innings to kind of show himself like, hey, I got this. I can maybe go into the next start with it.
Yeah, it was big. I think it's obviously all our starting pitchers. We want to kind of just after 2 innings, we're not going to abandon ship on him, and for him to go back out and kind of like I said, attack after the obviously giving up 4 in the first 2 innings, showed a lot, and that's what we want all our pitchers to do. Obviously, he saved us from having to use a different arm for those 2 innings, and I think it's a good way for him to go into his next start. A lot to build off of there, and like I said, he had 7 punch outs in 4 innings, not terrible. Obviously, just got stung by the 2 homers.
With Kyle Cody's, he seems like he's got some control issues. Where do you kind of see it from him?
Yeah, he's a little off. I think so. I think, the last inning he started using his changeup a little more. Still didn't have, the best command with the slider and his off-speed pitches. And you could tell his, not like him to hit guys like that, especially, back-to-back pitches. But it's something that, he's got to be better next time out.
Let's go to Jeff.
Hey, I heard you said to Emily about not giving the crowd much to cheer about, but how was it playing in front of a crowd, and what kind of energy did you sense before the game?
A ton of energy. I think we were excited, man, and like I said, we haven't played in front of any crowd. We played in a little bit in Kansas City, a little bit in spring training, but full capacity. It's amazing how quickly we get used to certain things, and not having that, this is what it felt like, and 2 years ago, or 2019 seems like an eternity ago, but it resembled some sort of normalcy. Obviously the energy in the crowd, and we were fired up. The dugout was fired up, and I'm sure the other team was as well, because they hadn't played in front of fans either.
Thank you.
Let's go to Chris.
He pitched. I mean, he pitched in the strike zone, used his fastball. I think used that sinker right away. One pitch gets the double play to obviously get out of that first inning. Didn't plan on using him for that. That I guess the third, but he had so little pitches and he felt great. So he told me he was going to go back out and get his first strikeout. So he did that on the first batter. The kid, he's a competitor, man. I think that you see it out there. I saw it in Kansas City for the 2 outings. Even when he, walked the first 2 guys in his first outing, he dug down and, executed some pitches. He has a lot of fight in him, and he's got good stuff. I know in the past he's been upper 90s. He's 93, 95 right now, and if that spikes up at all, I mean, we got a pretty good pitcher on our hands that has a lot of competitiveness and good stuff, good breaking ball, and he attacks the strike zone. And you see it today. That's why he had such a low pitch count, in 2 1/3.
Okay, let's go to Kennedy.
I think you kind of touched on it. Just there was a whole lot of strikeouts, XYZ in the lineup, but Kiner did really well with his 2 singles. What did you see from him, and what did you like from him today?
Yeah, no, I mean that's Kiner being Kiner. He swears he's just going to hit line drives all over the field, and that's what he did today. He's always thinking line drive back through the middle. If they happen to throw someone inside to him, he can do some damage to the pull side. But he's going to stay to the gaps, left center, right center, and get on base. And I think that's what he's done since spring training, and that's why he's honestly hitting at the top of the lineup. I can trust that he's got tremendous bat to ball. When he swings at good pitches, he hits the ball hard and he hits the ball to all parts of the field.
Pretty much the entire time in Kansas City, it seemed like y'all had a runner in scoring position in every inning, and today you had, I think, only 1 or 2 in scoring position. Was that? I feel like that was probably the biggest issue today, wasn't it?
Yeah, we just couldn't get anything going. Honestly, the leadoff bats. I got to give credit to Matz. I mean, he pitched, pretty well. He mixed his pitches up pretty well, and like I said, that changeup, was giving everybody fits. But like I said, we got to find a way when guys are. I love the chatter in the dugout. They were talking about what they were going to do the next time around, and I think the second time around we did a better job against him. Put a little pressure on him there, but at the end of the day, he kept executing, and we didn't hit a ton of balls hard. Got us off the barrel a ton, and like I said, he punched out a few guys.
Okay, Alex.
Woody, earlier today you talked about with Fulte and the high energy level he has, and sometimes you got to calm him down. Do you think that between the second and third inning, was there a message that either he or somebody said to kind of calm him down?
No, I think he said it to himself. He was pretty fired up before the game, and he obviously thrives on that kind of energy. But he does have to find a way to kind of regulate it, and so he can go out and execute. But he pitches better when he's kind of fired up, and that's when he's good. He has that kind of warrior spirit about him. So, that's a good setting for him, but he does have to learn how to, calm his emotions and go out and be able to execute in those situations. And I think early on he just, maybe was just off the plate on a few of the pitches, decent pitches, but just not good enough. And, I give them credit. They fouled off a ton of really good pitches with 2 strikes. That's where some of the walks came from. And then, like I said, the 1-1 pitch to Simeon, changed the at-bat. He took a good slider down and away, just off for a ball, and then hits a homer the next pitch. So, I actually didn't mind his outing. I think, just from the beginning, maybe if he could just go more on the plate, he's got good enough stuff where he can attack the strike zone, from pitch 1.
Appreciate it, Woody. Thank you.
Evan.
So are you saying that like the first time through the lineup, Max was really heavy on the changeup, and then he started using the fastball more?
Yeah. I mean, he just used it effectively. I don't think it was like a ton, but he just used it effectively. And I think that kind of once he started using that and got some swing and miss, and once you establish that pitch, it's really hard, especially when he's throwing that fastball that looks good at the top of the zone. You can't cover both, and that's kind of where our guys were caught in between a lot of times, and that's what honestly a quality changeup with good arm speed does. It's really hard. It's the hardest pitch to see as a hitter, and that's what he had back in the day when he's good, and honestly that's what he used today. But like I said, he commanded the fastball. He threw the breaking balls for strikes when he needed to. Used a few sliders here and there, but primarily the changeup was his key weapon today.
Based on kind of last year and where this lineup number of left-handers, you know you're going to face a steady diet of lefties as often as possible. Do you have to do something to kind of be able to show that you can keep left-handers a little bit more honest?
I think we've done that. I mean, I know that this guy, you know, the thing is with the lefty, you don't see too many lefties with the changeup. You know, that throw left on left changeup, they don't see it a lot. They're used to the spin away from them, you know, maybe the elevated fastball, you know, but the spin away from them is usually where lefties get lefties out. You don't see too many left on left change. So, thank goodness there's not too many that have that kind of pitch. But our lefties hang in there, man. They stay in there. You know, Dahl, you know, Joey and Nate, even Brock Holt, they all stay in on the spin from lefties. They have no problem, you know, adjusting to that. So I think that through 3 games before today, you know, we've handled them, especially the starter. But I'm not concerned, you know, as they go along. I think the more we see, the better we're actually going to get. So I hope they throw a bunch of lefties at us early, because that'll, you know, get our lefties a little more comfortable and get consistent at bats. Because sometimes it's actually harder to hit them if you see them few and far between. But if we see a ton of them, all that does is just, you know, create that comfort a little more for our guys.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Okay, we're going to bring Isaiah Kiner-Falefa in here next. Just a minute.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.